Okay, we're live. We'll call this Board of Selectmen meeting to order for Thursday, August 16th. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. The Pledge of Allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is there any agenda items that you'd like to add? I have one I'd like to add, and that's for a digital sign for the Warehouse Point Fire District. So there's no more added agenda items. I make a motion to add a digital sign for the Warehouse Point Fire District. Is there a second?
Well, no, I want to ask a question.
Sure.
If we're going to put one over there, how come we don't have one over here too?
If it's an agenda item, I'll discuss it in the agenda item.
We need one on both sides of town, so people on both sides of town are informed.
Okay.
That's
I need a second.
second.
All right. Any discussion? We'll talk about that, Steve. All those in favor? Adding this agenda item?
Aye.
You going to vote?
Yes.
Yes, and you?
Yes.
Okay. And we'll put it at new business 10C. Okay, public participation. Any public participation? Kathy.
I know you have tonight on the agenda the appointment of people to the CIP committee, and I just wanted to endorse two of the members for the qualities that I think that they would bring. Tom Telemini obviously brings his experience from the building commission, which I think would be extremely useful on the CIP committee. Tom's obviously a hard worker in town, knows a lot about town, so I would love to have him on our group. And Tanya Unsworth also. I've seen her in the way that she attacks the problems that I've seen her deal with and the way she makes decisions, very thoughtful, gathers information, and really puts a lot into decision making, which I think is an excellent quality as well for the CIP committee. And I also think because we're always asking for new people to join things, it would be nice to continue to encourage them by accepting them when they step forward.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else?
Kathy Pippin Road. I would endorse Tom Telemini. I've seen him at many meetings. He's very good in the town, wonderful ideas. And I don't know Tanya, but I can't imagine she'd be bad. But Tom definitely. Woo-hoo. We'd be very lucky to have him on there. Thank you.
I has to voice the comments of the first two Kathys, and I'd also like to endorse Rick Osborne for his reappointment to the inland wetlands. He does a heck of a job. He's very knowledgeable and he's dedicated. I think we would be remiss in not having him on there.
Okay. Further public participation? Okay, hearing none, we'll go on to approval of the minutes. Are there any corrections for the August 2nd regular minutes? Okay, hearing none, I move to approve the minutes of the regular meeting for August 2nd. Is there a second to that motion? Discussion?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Communications. I don't have any communications. Is there any communications? Okay. Now we're on to board, commission resignations and appointments. So, first appointment is Rick Osborne for Inland Wetland and Watercourse Agency.
I'll make a motion to appoint him back to the Inland Wetlands Agency.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Now we go on to appointments for the Capital Improvement Planning Committee. And we have 3 candidates, and we only have 2 openings. So what we'll do is everyone will get 2 votes. And we'll just go in order. So kind of in your own mind decide who you're going to vote for, because you only get 2 votes. And the 3 people are Jack Manette, Tom Talamini, and Tanya Unsworth. Is any one of those 3 candidates here?
Yep.
Oh, well, and I'm glad to meet you. I read the applications, and on your application, you wrote, I've been very involved in the past 5 years with soccer coaching and running the PTO. So I guess you run the PTO, is that?
Yes, so I've been running the PTO for the Broadbrook School and East Windsor Middle School for the last 5 years. I started off as the vice president and took over as the president, and then running that. When I took over the PTO, we had $13,000 in the bank. And I'm happy to say 5 years later, we have over $60,000 in the bank. We have social media presence, we have a website, we have a full accounting of our funds. Everything is up on the board, above the board in the book, so completely changed the way the PTO is run. We have a great group of volunteers now, the way we manage it and the way we're involved with the school. We run family events throughout the school year and things like that, so I'm very involved in the school. In that capacity as a volunteer to raise money to help offset the costs for field trips, assemblies, or anything that the school may need. And I am one of the 7 people behind leading the charge of raising funds for the school system. In addition to that, my family is very involved with rec soccer. My husband is the rec director for 5 through 8-year-olds. And I am the person behind helping him keep soccer in shape, but I also, in any capacity where there's help that's needed for volunteering and being a coach, whether it's for the basketball team, the baseball team, soccer, I'm that person that's helping where I can. And I think in being a part of a committee like this, I'm able to help in a different way, where I'm able to help shape the future direction of our town, and it'd be great to have some input in that.
Just curious about soccer.
Excuse me?
I'm curious about soccer because I used to coach soccer.
Sure.
Is this both male and female? And do you compete against other
so rec
towns?
soccer is co-ed, so from 5 to 8-year-olds, it's co-ed.
Okay, 5 to 8-year-olds.
Correct.
Okay.
So typically you're going from kindergarten to 3rd grade, and then it spawns off into travel, where then they get separated, male, female.
Interesting.
Up to what grade was that?
Up to about 3rd grade.
You're involved with the, you said the middle school?
Yeah, so the PTO raises funds for preschool to 8th grade.
Okay.
Yeah,
And your children, obviously.
I do. My son is going into 4th grade, and my daughter is going into the 1st grade.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Well, okay. So we're going to vote for 2 people. And the first one is Jack Manette. So how many people would vote for Jack Manette? Okay. Jack Manette gets 4 votes. And so those people who voted can only have one more vote. And
Yes.
Jason, you get 2.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, all right. You might want to write it down, Jason. Just joking. Okay, the next one, Tom Talamini. All those people for Tom Talamini? Unanimous. Okay, Tom wins. And all those for Tanya?
I like soccer.
Yeah. I think you're a future coach, really.
I'm a former coach.
Oh, okay. And Tanya, I have to say, and I wish I could vote for you too, and if anybody drops off, they'll be on that CIP committee, and there's 9 of them, so you never know what's going to happen. And also, I thought I would take this opportunity just to point out we do have some openings on other committees in town, and I'll go through them, because we're looking for people to fill these, and volunteers really are the lifeblood of this town. So anyway, Agricultural Commission has vacancies. American Heritage River has 2 vacancies as an alternates. Building Commission, Cox Cable Advisory, Elderly Commission, Inland Wetland Water Courses, Parks and Rec, and Water Pollution Control Authority.
And economic development also, did you say that?
I didn't say that.
They have.
They do, and we're looking for 2 people for the economic development. And that's hopefully it's an up-and-coming thing, because we got some new people on it, and we're building a new website, so that will be a good thing too. Okay, 250th.
There's not too much, basically just getting ready for Heritage Day on September 22nd, so we're just about a month away, and then the day after that, on the 23rd, we're burying the time capsule. We have the cover and everything, we just got to finish painting it, but we do have collection baskets for any items you want to put into the time capsule at the clerk's office in the town hall, the Broadbrook Library, and the Warehouse Point Library, as well as any other things we're going to be at, but I actually don't think we're going to be anywhere else before Heritage Day, but you can still drop off items at Heritage Day at our table. So you'll still have time to drop it off on Saturday, and we will probably still collect a couple of items Sunday morning before we bury the time capsule, but we want to have everything for the most part before then, so we can get it all in a bag and sealed up, and so it'll survive the next 50 years in the ground.
Yeah, can you give us an idea of what some stuff you already got?
We've got some business cards, a yearbook from the class of 2018. We have an old cell phone. We have a lot of newspaper articles. We have items from the masquerade ball, from the baseball game, and some other like souvenir stuff that we have as 250th. We have other little things from other people. I know that we just got one from a grandmother that wrote a note to her grandchildren. So personal letters and any photos or anything else too. So we don't have too much right now, but we're hoping to get a lot more. So I think the baskets around town will help people put more stuff around. So, and I sent Amanda the sign up website for all of our volunteer signups, because we're looking to get volunteers for Heritage Day. We need a lot of volunteers. Right now we have about 50 participants in the parade, and I have a feeling that's going to continue to grow as the time goes on, even though we did have a deadline set for the 15th, which was yesterday. And then we'll also need volunteers all throughout the day for other activities that are going to be going on at the site itself for the event. So,
could you give us some idea what the volunteers would do?
So we have volunteers are going to be helping get the parade lined up. We have looking for volunteers for parking at the event, and we have bounce house. We have other kids activities. We need supervision for like those things.
Rebecca, where will the parking be?
For the most part, parking will be at the middle school. We're still trying to figure out where all the parking will be, but we do have a free shuttle system going around that's going to go from the res to in this area for the Broadbrook School parking, the church parking, and town hall parking, and then at the middle school. So So you'll have to walk from middle school. We do have some handicap parking on site, but it is going to be limited. So we'll have on-site parking for all of our vendors. And again, that's going to be very limited though, because we are going to have some floats and other activities that were from the parade at the Heritage site.
And the parade will end at the Harrington property?
Yeah, yep.
Pulling that big field?
Yeah, we're gonna try. The parade keeps growing, so our size gets smaller, which is totally fine, but I know that one of the horse groups that we're doing, they're gonna end up pulling into the middle school so they can get out, because they can't get their trailer, whatever they have attached to the horses, down there and then back. So they're gonna end up cutting off early, I think. But for the most part, we're trying to have everybody go down to the site so everybody can see the whole parade. The judging will be at the Broadbrook Library. We are working on getting all of our judges for the parade lined up. We're finishing up the criteria for all of the judging, different categories. We're gonna have 6 altogether. I'm not gonna say what they are yet because we're still working on them, but we will have awards for those. Yeah.
Do you have any planned seating?
Planned seating?
Planned seating?
We're gonna get picnic tables from the res moved over to the Harrington site because we are gonna have a band and entertainment going on, so we wanna have enough places for people to sit.
But no temporary bleachers or anything like that along the route?
No, you just have you bring your own chairs and park on the side of the road or on the church or wherever. Just like all the other parades that we've had in town. That's all I got.
Here's the balance of the $10,000 for the fireworks I
Awesome.
promised.
Thank you so much, Steve. So
That's my part.
this does complete the $10,000 that we were looking to get for all the fireworks, so that is now all set. So thank you, Steve.
That's good.
So there'll be fireworks.
What time? Probably
When
8?
it gets dark.
Yeah, when it gets
So
dark, yeah.
we think it's like between 8 and 8:30 in September.
Yeah,
So roughly then.
and I guess it starts at 10 o'clock, you're gonna have stuff, and then...
No, the parade starts at 2:50 p.m. from the res, and it'll go all the way down.
How about before that? Is there anything happening?
No, just the parade, and then everything will be there at the
Okay,
end.
so
Yeah, so it's an afternoon thing, it's not a morning thing,
Okay.
like it used to be as Community Day.
Okay.
So, it's all in the afternoon, but we're gonna be setting up all morning for everything.
that makes sense.
So, it'll be busy. The road will be closed from, I think we said 2:30 to like 4-ish until it's over, so Main Street will all be closed. We already have the cops lined up for all that, so we're getting everything finalized. We're almost there.
Exciting, yeah.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the casino. Any updates on the casino? I don't have anything,
I
so...
thought, what's his name, was supposed to come to this
Yeah,
meeting.
I looked around, I don't see him, so we don't have a casino representative here, so...
Yeah, Connor said he was gonna be here.
Okay, yeah, Connor did.
He's gonna be here tonight, but he didn't make it, I guess.
Yeah.
But they did say he'd be here next meeting, for sure.
Okay, there you go. Steve?
I don't know, I had a guy call me today and wanted to know if I needed any fill, if I knew anybody that needed fill, because it was coming from the casino site.
Oh.
So, all I know is it kind of indicated to me maybe that something's just about to happen. That's all I know.
I went to a planning and zoning meeting this Tuesday night, the 14th of August. And Kevin, I think they passed something saying that he could start to, he's looking for fill. And he's going to fill up the back of his property. So maybe if they want to pay him, I think he'd take it. I don't think he takes it for free.
But they approved that?
I think they did. So there you go.
Oh, well.
Okay. Next is discussion and approval of the revision to the town code of ethics. And in the packet, you have the code of ethics with 2 slight changes. Actually, I can pass out the code of ethics with the changes. Because pass this down.
Yeah.
What are the changes?
The changes,
Do we want to have Mike come up? Do you want to come up?
sure, I don't, yeah.
Or other members of the commission? I don't mean to single him out, he was just the first one I said.
Yeah. The changes are on page 4. It says Connecticut General,
So, I'm sorry, the changes from the proposed changes, the new stuff, all of the changes.
No. All of the changes are not highlighted on your copy there. We incorporated some of the changes that were recommended by council, as you guys are well aware.
Yep.
Yeah, we were there.
What Bob was talking about, there was a couple of typos that I caught the other day, and I just said to them.
Okay.
So basically, nothing has changed from what we agreed to at the last meeting.
Yeah, it looks like you've done everything you said you were going to do.
Exactly. Now, we did not incorporate all of the recommendations from the town attorney. We did several of them. And we think this is a finished product.
I read it through, it looks good to me.
I don't know, I got a problem.
All right?
Right, Mike? Actually, right?
It doesn't shock me, Steve.
That's what I wanted to hear you say.
Doesn't shock me.
All right, under 2.5 here. Now, I plowed the East Windsor Public Schools in this town for 45 years. Sounds to me like I have a problem if I want to do business for the town of East Windsor, being a selectman here.
Yep.
Yeah, you do.
Well, I don't like that. Why can't I, as a businessman in town, go out and bid any damn job in this two-horse town and get it if my bid is cheaper than the other guy? And if it's a sealed bid, then there is no conflict of interest because nobody knows what the hell the bid is going to be until they open those envelopes. And the last time I got to school, I went through that. Okay? It was sealed bids. It wasn't open bids where everybody knew who was bidding what. Now, because you work for the town or you're an official in here, but yet you're still a businessman in town, and I've been here for 65 years, I should be able to bid any damn job I want in this town. So I don't like that. I won't vote for this.
Well, however, Steve,
I mean, if I can't bid a job in town, sitting on this board of selectmen, then
Is the camera on? Doesn't look like the camera's on.
camera's not on.
That one is,
They're looking
you're
at us,
absolutely
they're not
right.
looking at you.
Yeah, the camera's looking at the ceiling there.
I understand that.
So what would you want to say, Andy?
well, all I was saying is, I think there's a lot of precedent for the fact that if you work for a company, and you work for this company right now, I think that it's generally not acceptable to bid on a job. The company,
Yeah, but me bidding on a job, being a selectman, should not have any influence at all.
It's the perception, however.
Bullshit. If the people have a brain in their head, then they're gonna say, the guy's been working here, we know his work, his price was cheaper, he gets the job.
How would you like to reword that then so that,
Okay, I mean, I don't like that. No, I don't. I might want to bid plowing of the schools again. Probably never get them again, but whatever.
All I can tell you is that this was a recommendation that came from the town attorney.
I don't care about the town attorney. I don't like town
Well, let me
attorneys.
finish. It's a recommendation that they made in compliance with, I believe, some other regulations coming out of the state. So this isn't brand new language for the town of East Windsor. This language exists elsewhere.
I don't care where it exists.
Okay, well,
This is East Windsor.
You've got a right to
The
object
people
to
in
it.
this town own this town, okay?
Yeah,
And they should be able to hire who they want to do a job for them,
you've got every right to disagree with it.
okay? And I'm not going to vote for this, so what can I say? Go ahead, you guys vote, do what you got to do.
What else you got, Mike?
What else you got? Do you have any other questions?
No, as I said, I read through it and I can understand what Steve is saying, but I also can understand that it could be misinterpreted and some people could blow it out of
So let them blow it out of proportion.
Now, I understand what
A
you're
sealed
saying.
bid is a sealed bid. There's no conflict of an interest when there's a sealed bid, because the envelopes lay on the table And the last time I got to schools, they had to go through the town attorney. So maybe that cost them $500 of a taxpayer's money to get an opinion, which they said there was no conflict of interest. And I got it. Well, lost them the last time because I was too expensive. Okay, that's understandable. All sealed bids. We don't know. We all sit there, we open the envelope.
Well, no, that, I think it does.
Well, this was the prior snow plowing of the schools.
Well, you were still sitting on the board?
Absolutely.
And I think it does
And
say
we
in
had
here
one
that
person in this room that
you can get an
yelled and
exception.
screamed conflict of interest. Okay? So it wasn't a conflict of interest.
So I think the concern there isn't the low bid question, it's the potential for retaliation if you're not awarded the bid. That's what the policy is trying to address.
Why would I
It's not, this
retaliate?
isn't,
No,
this
listen,
isn't
hear
to
me
you
out.
though, Steve.
Why
This
would
is-
I
this is for all town
retaliate if
employees
I
and
was the
town
high
elected
bidder
officials.
and Butler got it the last time around? I said, okay, that's the way it goes. It's a bid deal.
Mhm.
If they think his work is good and he's the low bidder, he gets the job. I lost. Big deal. Am I gonna retaliate for what? It was a legal process. It was a sealed bid process.
Steve,
I
does
lost.
the low bidder always get the bid?
Does not have to.
In this town, we're allowed to give the person here 10%.
But the low bidder doesn't always get the bid, does he?
It's at the discretion of the town.
Right.
Right. I do a lot of work for South Windsor, and all the contracts are written like that. So,
On page 4, under powers and duties, it says, upon written request or on its own initiative, the commission may render advisory opinions with respect to requirements of this code of ethics. You could ask them about the sealed bid and see what they say. They could say yes or no. If they say yes, it's okay, then it would be okay, I think.
I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
Say it again, Bob. You're saying that if there was a bid, if any one of us wanted to bid on a job, that if it is a sealed bid, we have the right to go to the town council and ask them whether it is legally permissible for us to bid?
Not the town council, rather the Board of Ethics.
Oh.
The Ethics Commission.
You can go to the
You would
Ethics.
come to the Ethics Commission and put that
And
case
you people
before
make
us
a judgment on that?
if we thought it was a conflict
Or not a conflict.
or not.
Have you gotten anything like that in the past?
No, not that we're aware of.
Okay.
Do you know if this is,
I think there was prior to your appointment.
Could be, not that I'm aware of.
do you know if this is based on state law, that you can't bid if you're if you were a board member?
Andy, I don't know that for a fact. I know that language came from the attorneys. And the preponderance of the language they gave us was quoting statute.
Yeah.
So while we're on 4.3, when it talks about, so the pertinent part that I have a question about is any request or opinion, the disclosure of which invades the personal privacy of an individual. Oh, there it is. It's defined. Actually, it's defined right there. How do you know offhand, while I'm looking this up, how personal privacy is defined? Or is there anything that would be exempted from FOIA otherwise?
No.
It's broader than that?
As far as I'm concerned, or as far as I know, it's not exempted from FOIA. There are specific guidelines that the Ethics Commission complies with through the state statute with regard to that.
Because I'm thinking about Steve's particular dilemma, and there are certain restrictions on trade secrets. I wonder if that constitutes personal privacy. I just don't know. Probably not. I wonder if they're talking about medical information. It looks like that's what they're doing. Can you read number 2? Just let me know what your thoughts are.
Yeah, there's also some reference in here to ethics committees, actually, ethics commissions, and protections of what they can and cannot divulge. But yeah, I agree with that. That's,
Home addresses?
no, because,
Obviously not medical history.
no.
Complainant's name? Probably not that.
Well, again, if a respondent requests that information, we give it by statute.
I watched you guys, at what I think was your last meeting, do a pretty thorough analysis of this, and I think your I know this is a long time in coming, but I think your end product is really solid, and I think it makes some needed changes to reflect changes in state law and some practical considerations as well. So
It's not, in my opinion, it's not as strong as I would like to see it as far as the discipline is concerned. But we're held by state law, we're held by state statute to what we can and cannot do.
And who's governed, I know the answer to this, but just to get this out there, who's governed by this?
Who is governed by it?
Yep.
Any town employee
Yep.
or appointed person for any committee,
Or voted, or elected, or elected.
yeah.
But you hit the point that I wanted to make sure wasn't lost, is that this pertains to employee conduct as well.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
Now, you had said that there were things that the town attorney recommended being here, but you didn't use it. What were some of those examples that you had that didn't make sense?
Well, some of the things, one of the things he had recommended some ethics codes expressly exclude members of advisory boards that have no authority to expand public funds. Is that something worth considering? And we're saying no, that's not worth considering. Someone that's an employee of the town or serving as a committee for the town, employees of the town certainly come under these guidelines. So even if they have control of monies by some stretch, they're not exempt from that. They're not going to be excluded.
So advisory committees are included.
Yeah. There's another one. The intent of the original language appears to be to prohibit supervisors from soliciting things of value from subordinates. This change should make the intent clearer. And basically what he wanted us to put in there was that no official or employee shall solicit any business gift or favor directly or indirectly from another official or employee over whom he or she has any tenure, compensation, duties, or supervises. And we kind of just watered that down and took out of any tenure, compensation, duties, or supervises to say anybody. Anybody at all. Regardless if someone that works for Bob is in error, is doing something wrong, that person can come under these guidelines also. I mean, there's no exclusion from it at all.
Okay.
And someone that doesn't work for Bob, that works in the same building, still doesn't have any exclusion from this. So what the lawyer tried to do was put some dressing on it that we didn't think was necessary.
Okay, that's good.
And the other thing that we were looking at is the statute of limitation, where originally it was more than 5 years, and we've changed it to more than 2 years, as far as when you can file a complaint, 2 years of knowledge.
Yeah, 5 years is a long time.
Yeah, it is. So, I mean, those were just, again, as you can see, there was a ton of them.
Yeah, yeah.
Some we took, some we changed a little bit. there's several that we just said, no, we don't think that applies to us.
Okay, good.
So it's my understanding this has to go to town committee
Well, first we have to pass it.
if it passes. If it passes.
So let me ask you a question. Most everybody in this town has done business with most everybody that sits on these boards and commissions. So you're telling me that if I go before a board or commission and I'm looking to get something accomplished and approved, anybody who's done any kind of work for me whatsoever would not be able to vote? Or it could be a conflict of interest or whatever. Is that what you're saying here?
No, I think you're taking it to the extreme, Steve. I know you find that hard to believe, but I think you're taking it to the extreme. And again, it's in the eye of the beholder, and if there's a question, bring it before the commission.
I'm just asking.
We'll give
You're
you
the
an
guys that
answer.
wrote this stuff
I'm
up.
trying to answer you.
So I think a good example would be so Lenny Norton is a PE. He's a licensed PE. He would be in conflict if he were to advocate for a private developer on behalf of a private developer in front of planning and zoning. He doesn't serve on planning and zoning, but he is a town employee. He would be governed by that. So that's the example.
He comes under that scrutiny, yes. Now, is it a violation of the code? We'd have to look at the whole picture.
But that's an example that I think
That's
is
an
a little bit
example
more
that could bring it
towards.
to us, to say, look at this. Is this a violation of the code? And then we'd have to take the flag crap on it.
And that's something that the board would, commission would look at
Absolutely,
and review.
absolutely.
So,
Only if a complaint is brought.
It's got to be brought to us, yeah. Or one of us could file it too. One of us could say, oh, we need to look at this. But it's got to be a factual matter that involves someone this applies to.
it doesn't then prohibit Steve from bidding, but if someone said, I think that's a violation of the code, then you would review that.
And gave us their argument as to why it's a violation of the code, and then we would review that.
Okay.
Review those facts.
Okay.
And determine if in fact it is a violation of the code.
Now, that's pretty critical from a time standpoint, because if an RFP goes out, you're expecting to get proposals in within a week or 2 or 3, whatever.
And
you people would have to act very quickly.
This is outlined that we
I know it
are required to
is.
act
I know it is.
very quickly.
I know it
Yeah.
does. It calls for very prompt action on your part.
Which is why, again, because it requires 4 positive votes
Yeah.
to make a motion, or to second a motion. That's why in this proposal, we're looking for alternates
Yeah.
to sit on the committee.
Yeah.
We can't get all 5 of us
Yeah,
together
understand.
for 4 votes,
Yeah,
and we need some alternates.
understand.
In that circumstance, like, let's say, for example, you and your wife decide you're going to go to Florida for a month. And in the span of that time, there's a complaint filed and an alternate needs to be seated to determine whether or not there was some type of violation. Then you guys come back, you're a full voting member, but you didn't vote on the issue that determined whether or not action was taken. If, in that case, does the alternate remain seated for that case, or do you, as a regular member, get to take your seat back in a case that you may not have thought needed to be escalated?
I'd have to look for information on that, but in my opinion, they would stay for that particular case.
They would stay seated?
Yeah.
I would think so.
Yeah. Yeah. Wounded tomb type situation.
Mm-hmm.
I have a scenario I thought of when you're talking about it. Suppose I wanted to buy some mulch from Steve. That could possibly be a conflict of interest.
No, why would that be a conflict of interest? If he charges you the same thing he charges
Yeah.
everybody else,
Yeah, all right.
that wouldn't be a conflict. Now, if he said to you, Bob, I'll give it to you for a quarter of the price, and somebody found out about that, they may raise that issue to us.
Yeah, okay.
Hey, Bob, I got to raise the price.
That's Steve. That'll work. Okay, further discussion?
Well, just to clarify, just in my mind, it therefore sounds like Steve or any other contractor would not be prohibited from taking part in a bidding process. However, if someone were to raise a question as to whether that was ethical or not, then it would have to go to the ethics board. They would have to, commission, they would have to look at it and decide whether, in their mind, it was ethical, it was a proper ethical situation. Agreed?
If it was a violation of the ethics code.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if it wasn't, he could go bid.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And that clock moves quickly for the.
I know it does.
So,
I know the timing
Right.
is quick. Okay.
All right, so I wrote down a motion. I move to repeal Code of Ethics Ordinance 06-1 dated April 27, 2006, replace it with the attached Ethics Code Ordinance and send it to a town meeting for approval. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Discussion.
I don't think that is properly worded.
Okay. I do have a copy. I typed it up. Do you want to change the wording?
I just think that you're I mean, I guess it's fine. The intent's known. I would reword this, but I'm not going to.
Okay, so we have it moved, we have it seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, opposed? I think it's unanimous. Everybody voted for it. Okay, so the next order of business is a discussion of the stormwater management and village center redevelopment. And I just wanted to, it was in your package, Lori Whitten, before she left, and we'll miss her a great deal, applied for and got a grant from the state for $123,800 to do a study in Warehouse Point, and the town will contribute $7,500 to that, and also do some work. So the work's worth, I guess, $6,000. So the total that we're going to expend in a way is $137,500. And so we're going to do two things with this study, and the study's just starting. So in Terry Hahn.
Is it underway now?
Just starting. Is it underway? We've had a 1-hour meeting. That's what we've had with this. And so we don't have a project plan. And it's going to be a 15 to 18 month project.
Yep.
So we have a long ways to go. And if anybody from the board wants to be involved in this and come to our meetings or something, they're more than welcome to do that, because the more help you get, the better off it will be. I'm going to be involved. Matt Jasinski's going to be involved. A lot of people are going to be involved. Planning and zoning will be involved, and then we'll get the whole public involved.
Will the Works Department be involved?
Yes, in fact.
Are they going to carry the ball? Are they the ones that?
No, Terry Hahn in LADA is the company she works for. She's the one that's going to coordinate this whole thing. She's going to be the clerk of the works, so to speak. She's going to see that everything gets done, and she'll be involved in a lot. She'll report to me and the planning and zoning, but we'll also have open house for the public. We'll get a lot of input for the public. If you look in the scope, it tells like workshops in printings, and we've done a lot of work in this area too. Lenny Norton has a stormwater management kind of for Warehouse Point. And so he's going to be definitely involved, and right from the get-go, in the stormwater management. And if you think about stormwater management, I just started in this 1-hour meeting. I learned a little bit, and the stormwater management will consider the watershed for Warehouse Point. The rain that falls and all the water that runs through Warehouse Point where it goes, and it goes particularly to this thing they call a blue ditch. And there's also a floodplain, I guess, north of 140, down by the river. And then, interestingly enough, they divide the flood into different degrees. There's a 1-year flood, a 2-year flood, 10-year flood, 100-year flood, and a 500-year flood. So you have to decide how you're going to plan for what. And also, I was thinking about it. I know in 1938 there was a flood here, and that was certainly a 100-year flood. And the water came up over Main Street. And
Did that happen in the 80s too, I think.
Go ahead.
Didn't that happen in the 80s as
Yeah,
well?
did.
Did it? Yeah. I don't know. I know there's a marker by the box factory that showed how far the water came up in 38, but I didn't know.
That's what prompted to build the dike
Okay.
through Hartford and all that.
Oh, yeah, that flood.
That's why
yeah.
they did that.
Yeah,
In the 1938 flood, it actually came up over the wall, and where the powerhouse now stands, that wasn't there then. But it actually flooded that whole yard area. And it ran back into the Broadwick stream, down beyond, well, near the little bridge on Mill Street. It was a bad flood.
It was a bad flood.
Yeah.
So, and then even now there's backflow, I guess, from the Connecticut River, so all that's taken into account when they do the stormwater management. So,
Like, for example, Bob, in bullet number 4 on page 1, it says, begin stormwater evaluation. How do you do a stormwater evaluation? Do you look at the aqueduct size, the ducting, and what the watershed, and how many culverts you have, and how do you do that?
to answer your question, I don't know. But we're going to find out.
Okay.
That's a very valid question. And the way I figure it, you got the rainwater, you know how much comes in these different storms, and you got the outflow, so it's pretty measurable, I think. So
This is being done in, the other towns that are adjacent to the river?
no.
If they got the grant, it might be.
Yes, but this grant, in the grant that Lori applied for, she did a very good job in the write-up. In fact, I think I included the application in here, and she really said to she has it in her POCD, Plan of Conservation and Development, and she said to the state, listen, we're part of the Windsor Locks TOD, Transit-Oriented Development, and we're kind of bookended between the casino and this transit-oriented development thing. We really need to do this planning to prepare for the onslaught that we're going to have, the changes that are going to occur. And the state agreed and gave us this money. So it's not everybody. It's really unique to us.
Good.
So I just wanted to call that to your attention. We're starting it, and we'll keep you involved. And probably a lot of the decisions will be made by both planning and zoning and the board of selectmen, and into really how the second part, the village center redevelopment, that's talking about how we want our planning for Warehouse Point, basically. Like I said, we've done some prior studies, so we'll integrate that. And one of them, I guess I said that Warehouse Point was 415 acres. However they determined that, I don't know. But, so.
When doing this, Bob, real attention has to be paid to the casino, because they're going to put down parking lots which are impervious surfaces, and you'll get runoff there, which you'll have to somehow break into water drain lines that go down Bridge Street,
Yeah,
and eventually get to the river.
I'm not a water engineer, but like some things they were talking about with holding ponds, so you could retard the flow and then clean the water to some degree. And then they also have, if you have sandy soil, you can make like dry wells that would that would work kind of like a septic system that would slow down the off flow, but.
See, Andy, there's not going to be any more impervious coverage there than you already have.
You think that's true?
It's absolutely true. The parking area is already there. They're going to build a parking garage that will be in the parking area. So instead of being amosite, it will be cement. And
I thought they were going to take more parking west.
it's going to be basically the same as it is.
Okay.
And DEP, they love parking garages to start with because a lot of the drips and oils and stuff stays in the garage.
Yep.
It's not out in the parking lot that
Yep.
runs off. They already have the big ponds there, they're already built. Not once have I ever seen them full in my life over there. And so really, the casino, everybody thinks it's going to have a big impact on this town. It is not. Okay? They're going to use the same area, whether it's covered with cement or building, for amosite. That's basically the way it's going to go. So we can't start blaming things on our new neighbors.
No, I wasn't blaming him, I'm just saying.
I know.
Consideration.
You thought it would be more, but it's not going to be more.
Yep.
It won't be more.
And the reimbursement is on a monthly basis or quarterly basis, or?
I'm not sure how that works.
Because you could run up a bill pretty fast.
We'll have to, Amy may be another person to get involved. And
You know, the first bullet on page 2, you know, says guaranteed will be paid on a reimbursement basis. I hope that's not at the end.
yeah, I can't answer that, but we'll check into it.
Okay.
It's usually not when you have a grant.
What's that?
It's usually not when you have a grant. It usually comes in as you submit stuff.
Any further discussion? Okay, we'll move on to our last item of new business, the Warehouse Point Fire District digital sign. And I'll pass these down. And Rich, you want to come up, or Jim? Sure. Line up. And I'll say that, again, when I was at that planning and zoning meeting on Tuesday, Rich presented his application to planning and zoning, and it was approved. And as on the front page of what I handed out, it says, in accordance with Connecticut State Statute Section 8-24, a meeting on August 14th, 2018, the East Windsor Planning and Zoning Commission voted to make a positive referral and recommend to the Board of Selectmen to approve the electronic sign for the Warehouse Point Fire District located at 89 Bridge Street. And just a little background, the school system has been asking for this for a while, and we, as a town, have been considering it. And it was approved. They made changes to the sign ordinance, well, actually not an ordinance, statute. Regulation, sign regulation, on June 26th of 2018. So a little over a month ago, they made that change, and Rich is the first one to bring it to us. In the regulations, it says that, I have put a picture that Rich gave us of the sign that's being considered, and I guess the ordinance, or the regulation allows 32 square feet for the digital portion of the sign, and then as it shows here, a 5x8 for the entire sign. But there you have it. Do you have anything you want to add?
I've been working on this for over a year, actually. We were given some money by a manufacturer, and I approached them to see what they'd really like us to do with the money, and I suggested the sign would be a really good idea, and they were all over it. They thought that was a great idea. and the town didn't have an ordinance, and I pushed Lori pretty hard to get her to do this new agreement, or whatever you want to call it. And so that's why on the first one, in with the sign. And the board approved it unanimously. They thought it was a good deal. They thought it would be a good example for everybody to have to follow. The signs and everything. They were happy with it.
Now, is that going to go where the other one is
I
now?
don't know right where the other one was. Maybe a little bit back deeper into our property, because I'm a little leery of what might happen on Bridge Street. They may widen it slightly, make a passing lane there so people.
Now, is that sign there now? I can't remember. Is that perpendicular to the road? Or
Yes.
So
It's two-sided, perpendicular to the road. It's lit, but it's not lit very well.
Okay.
And it's too low to the ground. We've had people back into it. We had to replace it one year because a truck wheel came off, a truck coming down the hill, and it went right through our sign.
Oh, dumb luck.
So
Do that twice.
Yeah, so now we have to, we wanted to raise it up just
Yeah.
a little bit so that people won't back into it.
How fragile is a sign like this? Is it LED?
It's
technology?
LED, computer controlled from in the building.
How fragile from a, if something hits it, do you have, is there screening in front
Well,
of
it's
it?
got screening in front of it, and some kind of a plastic material, it's probably like Lexan or something like that. I imagine you could break it, but it's going to be insured, so not much you can do.
Well, some of the new signs, for example, at baseball diamonds, they can take a direct hit from a baseball.
Yeah, I don't know.
The material that they use is Lexan or polycarbonate, and it will bounce back.
Correct. I'm imagining that's what this is. This is a sign company that drew up these plans. They're very well known.
So what kind of things are you gonna put on this sign?
Things like we're gonna have a spaghetti dinner. I'd like to be able to.
So actually, it's only gonna cater to the Warehouse Point
No,
Fire
if-
Department
If
and
you
not
would
the,
listen to my
not the
answer,
town of East Windsor?
If you'd listen to my answer, Steve, I would have answered your question.
Okay, let's
I would
go.
love to be able to put on there, and I can't do it without the town's permission. Don't forget to vote, things like that. You know, things that are pertinent to the town.
But you'd be willing to do that?
I see no reason why not.
Who's gonna pay for this sign?
It's hard to pay for.
It is.
We've already owned it for over a year, sitting in our building. I just waited for the ordinance.
So this is great. I have two questions. The concern one of the concerns that has been raised about these in the past is the changing billboard feature you see on the
The
highway.
ordinance covers that. They
I
spell
haven't-
it.
I haven't seen it.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize you hadn't seen it.
Can you summarize?
No. But it does tell, talks about the letter size, the frequency of changing of the sign, how flat, you can't flash. Actually, I thought they would want a long duration. They actually want it shorter. This is a federal government
Guideline?
guideline, yeah. They've made a study on it, and it says right in there how
Yeah,
fast it is.
it says here, the sign can change at a minimum of every 5 seconds. You can't change it faster than that. It says strobing and flashing is prohibited, and it goes on. It really defines.
They talk about colors, what colors they don't want. Ironically, the company that printed this up, we didn't make, that was their idea, that fancy thing they put on there. But one of the colors, they would like a black background.
Yeah.
Because it's computer generated,
And
you
you
can
can
put
see
any
it
kind of
tonight.
background on it.
You can see the lettering at night.
Yeah.
So, Bob, you said that the ordinance allows for 32 square, or the regulation allows for 32 square feet?
Yes,
Uh,
of a sign. Okay.
It's the same size as what we have now,
Okay.
and
Charlie, want to
it's
give this
just,
to Jason?
the one we have now is lower to the ground. Ours sits right on the ground.
Except this was 40 square feet.
Right. This has a sign, a printed sign over top of the sign.
So that's okay?
What is the
That
regulation?
was okay with the planning and zoning, they thought it was a good idea.
Because that's not the electronic part.
Right.
What does the regulation call for?
And it's in red, Jason, toward the end is where the changes are made. Then there's two sections of that.
Oh, so maximum of 32 square feet, up to 45 square feet if the height is no more than 5 feet maximum. So you're covered. Yeah, essentially they don't want you to put a billboard on the ground.
Right. No, all I can say is good job. Looking forward to seeing it there. Yeah.
For a long, long time, I thought that, hold on to this. I thought that our sign regulations were unkind to businesses. So I appreciate you taking the lead and pushing on this.
Right. Okay, I think I'll make a motion then, if that's okay. I move to approve the electronic sign for the Warehouse Point Fire District located at 89 Bridge Street, as approved by Planning and Zoning Commission on August 14th, 2018.
I'll second that.
Why are we voting on this?
Because
If planning and zoning has already approved it, this is a zoning matter.
No,
they're not asking for
There's
any
some
money.
language in there.
There's some
that
language
says
in there
that
that's-
that has to have approval from you.
Because it's a municipality kind of a deal, it has to go before the board of
That
selectmen.
D844.
yeah, and also when the planning and zoning said it, this is their motion. It says the Planning and Zoning Commission is in favor of the site plan application of the Warehouse Point Fire District to allow an electronic sign at 89 Bridge Street, map block and such, as submitted under municipal digital sign regulations, and the Planning and Zoning Commission recommends an 824, which is I think what you're reading, referral to the Board of Selectmen the sign as proposed. So really, it looks like we have to approve these things.
I apologize, I missed the second. Did anyone second? You did, thank you.
So the statute says, this is speaking of disapproval. So it says in pertinent part, such final action shall be effective only after the subsequent approval of the proposal by a 2/3 vote of the town council where one exists, or a majority vote of those present and voting in an annual or special town meeting, or a 2/3 vote of the representative town meeting or city council or the warden and burgesses, as the case may be. Provisions of this section shall not apply to maintenance or repair of existing property, buildings, or public ways, including but not limited to resurfacing of roads. So I think we have to send this to town meeting.
I don't think so. I think reread what you just read.
I just read, such final action shall be effective only after the subsequent approval of the proposal by a 2/3 vote of the town council where one exists.
Okay, we are a town council.
We are the town council.
Okay, we're Board of Selectmen. I think it's the same thing.
Same
But
thing,
actually,
basically.
Is there a definition section? Let's see if there's a definition section.
as I said, Lori and the Planning and Zoning didn't have a problem when they made the ordinance.
I don't have a problem with it either. I just am not clear why the Board of Selectmen is voting on it, and I'm still not.
Well, I think it might have
clear
been
why the
that
Board's
first sentence because they could have considered us a town council.
voting. Yeah, but the statutes usually reference the form of government specifically.
Okay.
Their comment when they voted on it, approved it, they said it was like a formality. That's for whatever reason.
So it says the town and selectmen include district and officers of such district respectively in the definitions. I don't know. Whatever you guys want to do.
Okay, let's vote. Okay, let's vote. It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, very good. So, what else we got? All right, now selectmen reports. And Steve, you're first.
I don't know, I went somewhere, but I can't remember what it was, so I guess move right along.
All right. Andy?
No meeting for the Economic Development Commission, and there will be none in August. There's no scheduled meeting in August.
Okay.
So the next report will be in September.
Right. Okay, Jason.
On August 11th, the East Windsor Historical Society held their annual ice cream social, complete with a live wedding, free haircuts, many vendors and old-time games and demonstrations, and delicious local ice cream. Despite the rainy-ish day, there were estimated to be over 600 people who came and attended. And the Historical Society has a plan to greatly expand the offerings that they have there. They've just purchased a significant amount of land that will allow them to continue to do similar events and demonstrations and turn it into an attraction for school groups and families, and there's some really interesting stuff going on there.
Didn't you perform a wedding there?
I did.
All right. How were you dressed?
I
Dapper.
had
You look dapper.
Very appropriate, dapper.
Yeah,
Totally appropriate.
and the whole
That
garters
means you
on the
hit it on the-
sleeves and the top hat. And
Top hat.
the whole nine. And anything Mrs. Masters asks.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Charlie?
Okay, continuing on the project of working with the Rouse Point Fire District and Department and Broadbrook about coming to, if we can change anything there between having a district and not a district here. We were able to set up, I shouldn't say we, Amy O'Toole, the treasurer, set up a meeting for us with the Barkhamsted district, and that was on August 8th. And it was a really informative meeting for us, I think. We got a lot out of that. Chief Barton was there, Assistant Chief Austin was there, Chief Arcari was there, the chairman of the Rouse Point District, Victor Capita, was there, along with other people from the fire departments. And so we met with the commissioners of the Barkhamsted district, and they were very open with everything and provided a copy of their budget even, and their budget is a little over $600,000, and it comprises of 3 departments that are in the district. And they actually, my question was, how did you get to the stage of having the district, if it must have been originally separate fire departments? There were, and there still is. They operate independently, but they come under the district. And the reason for having
Appropriate.
Good topic, huh? You have to go?
No,
Okay.
Well, I look.
All right, I'll hurry.
Yeah.
So Andy and I went there, and we learned a lot from that, and the 3 departments became under the district for economic reasons. That one of the departments was having difficulty with getting funding for what they needed. The others didn't, and so as a town, they put these together, and it made a lot of sense. Their mill rate is similar, I think, to the district's. It's 1.66, and for the 18 budget, it had been running 163, 166. So they're fairly consistent in what that mill rate is. So our next steps are, you know, to meet with and kind of go over what we learned there and see what, you know, what should be the next steps and what we should think about to do. So we're planning that in the next week or so. Ian, do you have more to add about
No,
that?
I thought that the people from Barkhamsted were very good. They, I think, were very open and told us why and how they organize it. It's a bit different than we here in East Windsor. They're a smaller town. They have 3 fire companies. As Charlie said, it really came out of the essential need to kind of bail out the Riverton Fire Department. They were small and almost unable, well, not almost, unable to really cover their financial responsibilities. So I think, as explained by the commissioner, that they really sat down and just plain decided how best to do it for the town. And that's kind of where we are here in East Windsor also, you know, what is best for our town. And I think it was a good meeting, as Charlie said. A lot of people were very frank, willing to answer all kinds of questions. Our people had a chance to ask questions, they did. They allocated an hour for us, and I think we ran an hour and a half, hour 45 minutes, which took away from their fire company meeting. So it was a good night.
Yep.
Okay, and I don't have anything to report, so I guess we're done. We're going to go into executive session. After a 5-minute break, if you want one.
Hi, Bill. How are you?
Good.
Here's check registration.
This is far.
I guess,